A lot of soldiers, a lot of people in Israel don't necessarily think, oh, they're all terrorists, so therefore I must kill them. They actually believe that the wall is there to give them security. They honestly believe that it's okay to put another nation in a ghetto, and they don't consider it a ghetto, because that's the only way to keep us safe. So basically, this is. And I stopped trying to communicate in a lot of ways with the Israeli society, and it's sad. I think a lot of activists chose to, but whenever I see a soldier who takes off his uniform and come to a demonstration, or when I hear about my friends with Anarchists Against the Wall who are soldiers, that's when I begin to think, okay, the Palestinians the popular struggle in Palestine made them think that's an amazing struggle. That's the struggle I want to be in. And basically, unfortunately, I didn't have that experience, like seeing the popular struggle and thinking, okay, I should not oppress people. I became kind of politically aware when I was 14 and became more and more radical as long as when I grew up. At 18, I decided I do not want to serve in the IDF. I do not want to participate in massacre. I do not want to encourage that massacre. But only when I turned 2021, I started attending demonstration in the West Bank after I started college, which I got to start in a young age because, again, I didn't serve in the army. Most Israelis only start college at age 21, 22, 23 sometimes. I want to talk to you about the ways that Israelis can get out of the army. It's very hard to become politically aware. Most people don't, and to understand the occupation is, and I'm sorry for demonizing it, but evil. And that's not an easy part because the media brainwashes us since we're very young that we should serve, that we should protect our state, we should kill Palestinians. So coming to a realization that the army isn't protecting us, that's not easy. But getting out of the army itself can be. Basically, there are three popular ways that Israeli lefties choose to not get out, choose to not serve, resist the draft. One of them is refusing to draft for political reasons. In that case, you come up to the army, you show up at the army, show up at the offices, and you say, I do not want to serve. I want you to know that I do not want to serve because of the occupation. I want the media to coverage that. I want to tell the entire world that I do not serve for the occupation, that you're putting me in jail for it, and they want to convince other people to do the same. And in that case, they go to jail sometimes for 2 years, sometimes for 2 months, 1 month, whatever. They each time go to jail for 21 days, and then get sentenced for 21 more days and 21 more days. So basically anything from 21 days to up to 2 years. 5 people actually in 2002, I think, no, 2004, went to jail for 2 years. Now people are beginning to go to jail for just a few months for refusing to draft. That's a long time actually. The second way is conscience objector. That means that basically you go to you get invited by this committee in the army, and they try to humiliate you, and they try to humiliate your witnesses, and basically try to make sure that you're not just trying to do something for a short period of time, for 2 years, but that you actually do not want to sell for conscience reasons. And they sometimes invite you once, twice, 3 times, just in order to make sure that you are that you want to continue on that direction of conscientious objector. That's the second way. And the third way is a 21 profile, which means that mental inability to serve in the army. Unlike here, actually, we can say we're lesbians or we're gay or we're transsexuals, and I've heard that you can't do that here since I think 2 weeks ago. So just want to say congratulations, local LGBT community. You can now be as masculine and kill as many Arabs as you want. There you go. So anyway, in Israel we can't do that, but what we can do is basically say we take Prozac, we smoke weed, we do whatever we want, just we don't want to serve. Basically, we have to pay for a psychiatrist, a private psychiatrist, like $200 and receive a recommendation. One time is enough. And that's it. That's the 3 ways we get out of the army. So like I said, it's hard to become politically aware, but once you do, it's so easy. It's so easy seeing. Once you agree to see what's happening in Palestine, once you know that the neoliberal media is that they have some kind of financial interest in showing us just one thing, that they don't have any interest in showing us the occupation because we might not want to pay money to those who make money from the occupation. That's basically when things become, when I think people cannot afford to not be in solidarity with the Palestinians because the occupation is done in our name. I mentioned financial interest in the occupation. This relates to another group I'm in, which is the Boycott from Within group. They're a part of the international BDS movement, which I think is one of the best and one of the most important social calls for people everywhere. The Boycott from Within is a bit different from the BDS movement in the way that we're a solidarity group. The Palestinians do not ask us to boycott everything that you must boycott. I think that you must boycott. You owe it to yourself to boycott all Israeli goods. Where the boycott for they request us to boycott settlement goods, for example, but you do not, and boycott settlement and boycott companies that make money from the occupation, but they do not ask us to boycott everything. So that's like consumer in boycott. You also have academic boycott and cultural boycott, which basically means just ask people not to come and speak in the Israeli institutions. Don't allow Israelis who represent the Israeli state to come and speak here. If there are Israelis who don't represent the Israeli institutions, there is no problem with that. But if they represent the state, then yeah, absolutely, that's problematic. That you must not let them. You must tell them we do not want business as usual with Israel. We refuse to close our eyes to the occupation. Sanctions. That's okay. Okay. Just I'll finish this really quickly. Sanctions means putting sanctions on the Israeli government, and investments means basically convincing companies and convincing the state to invest from the occupation from the Israeli state. I didn't talk about everything I wanted to talk about. I probably missed out a lot of stuff, so please don't be afraid to ask questions.